Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the blessed one, the worthy one, the fully enlightened one. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello, Dhamma friends. Good morning to all of you in USA and other countries in the West. And good evening to all those wonderful Dhamma friends in Asia. This Sunday Dhamma Talk Series specifically designed for our Mahasangha members, both bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, sayales, and other monastic community, to share the Dhamma for the benefit of our Dhamma friends around the world. So today's Dhamma talk is week number 39, and today we have a very wonderful young monk who covers the week 39 under the topic Dhamma Therapy and its power of transformation. So Venerable Dr. Varanyana is from Myanmar, and he has studied in Sri Lanka 9 years. He can speak very good Sinhala as well. So it was very wonderful to see Venerable Sayadaw, Dr. Varanyana. Let us invite him to the studio for our wonderful Dhamma discourse. Hello, Venerable Dr. Varanyana. Good evening to you. How are you doing today? I think you are mute.
Yes, I'm good, Bande. Thank you.
Okay. So you are based in Myanmar right now, right?
Yes, Bande. I am in Myanmar.
Okay. Would you like to share something about your temple first? Your temple and the religious activities that you do based on your temple?
Yes, Bande. I live in a Rangoon, but now recently I visited my region, the western part of Myanmar, Rakhine State. Now in a city, capital city of this Rakhine State. But
Okay.
tomorrow, going back to the Rangoon. In the
Hmm.
Rangoon, I live in a Radhana Bodhi monastery. It's monastery center as the Dhamma teacher. It is
Okay.
a monastery learning center. We call it Pariyati Satendai in a Burmese
Okay.
word.
Okay.
Uh, Now recently, as the mentioned in the my biography, I'm working as a lecturer in a Dhamma Vinaya University in the Mobi
Yes.
town in the Bengal. And
Hmm.
now I'm one of the leading monks who are establishing a new university in this
Hmm.
eh, in this region
Hmm.
uh, with our other college, other friends, led by Miao Usiaro, is a very famous, renowned, venerated monks in Myanmar. We call it
Hmm.
Kamatana Chariya, Dhamma talkers. And led by this
Okay.
year, under this guidance of this year, we are working on it. I'm one of the leading monks. So recently, yes, doing those things.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you, Bande.
So you mentioned that you stay in a temple or a pariyatti place, like a monastic school.
Monastic school there in the Rangoon, but
Hmm.
here in this region, my original region, we are
Hmm.
establishing a new university, a
How
Buddhist
nice.
study university. Yes, Bande.
Is that different from the one you are teaching right now?
Yes, Bande. Different
Oh,
place.
no.
Mm.
Okay. Yes. So, Venerable Dr. Varanyana is a lecturer on Buddhist Counseling Psychology in the Dhamma Vinaya University in Yangon, Myanmar. So, how about that university? Would you like to explain a little bit about that university as well? Maybe it will benefit our friends around the world.
Which university, Bande? It newly established one or
The one you are teaching, Dhamma Vinaya University.
yes, Bande. Dhamma Vinaya University. Obviously, this name is much familiar to us.
Yes.
The school. The temple is called Mahavihara Monastery.
Hmm.
This is the most the monks populated the temple in lower part of Burma. Over 1,000 monks live together there. So
Wow.
venerable monks and novice alike. Yeah. So
So
I was
you mean to
invited
say only
early on. Sorry, Bande.
that
Pardon.
university is only for monks?
Yes, especially for the monk right now, maybe it has the tension to invite the lay people the later on. But it's been 6 years already.
Hmm.
There,
Hmm. Hmm.
I was just invited last year, early of the last year, and this university
Hmm.
uh, now is a they closely establish I mean compound of this temple inside this temple. Mostly students were not from outside. Uh, this monastic center, those who want to join the university, so they were allowed to join. Maybe later on they were open for all, but now they have such limits for the monks and novice from this monastic center.
Hmm.
So yeah, Bande, is that am I answering your
Okay.
question, Bande? Okay.
Yes, I think so. I think it will be very helpful, like to know. So, how do you teach? Do you also have like a BA, MA, PhD, or it is completely traditional Buddhist teaching setup over there?
No, Bande. In the monastic part, they're learning and teaching the traditional way. We call it pariyati, just like
Hmm.
pariwena in the Sri Lanka.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
Venerable monks, the ship monk, last 6 years, he had decided to establish a university. But the university, he said that it should be like a university based on the Vinaya. So
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
why the university is named Dhamma Vinaya
Okay.
University.
So more into
Yeah,
Vinaya, but do
they
you
are
also teach
BA and
Dhamma?
yes, but yeah,
Do you also teach Abhidhamma and
many
Sutta?
no Bande other lecturer there who are teaching the Abhidhamma.
Hmm.
Uh, my subject is, as you mentioned, the Buddhist Counseling Psychology, and I'm working there as a
Wonderful.
assistant registrar now. So recently,
Very
last
nice.
1 month, invited to be a assistant registrar there.
Okay. Right. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Venerable Dr. Varanyana, for joining us. I think you also have given another Dhamma talk earlier. For our Dhamma community is very familiar with you already. So we welcome you again and thank you so much for joining us. And without further ado, I would like to invite you to continue your Dhamma talk on the power of the Dhamma therapy and its power of transformation. Over to you, Venerable Dr. Varanyana.
Thank you, Bande, for your kind introduction. Uh, good evening from Myanmar, and good morning, good afternoon to you all. So, hope you all are keeping well. Today is a good evening. As you introduce Bande, uh, I have given us some Dhamma talks earlier, organized by this Dhamma USA, and I'm very honored and happy to be invited. And thank you for having me, inviting me. So before we are going to get started, let's pay homage to the Buddha, saying Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. I pay homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, and perfectly enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, good evening again. Thank you so much for inviting me once again. Today, given topic, as you see, Dhamma Therapy and its power of transformation. It seems to be that the topic is a little general, but we're going to understand that what it means actually. So the Dhamma therapy and its power transformations part. Obviously there are 3 parts: Dhamma therapy and its power and the transformation. How the Dhamma, the power of the Dhamma, help us transform ourselves and have others transform. So the first transformation, that is also very general terms. We use these terms in other sectors too, but it should be named here as like a spiritual transformation. But transform here covers 3 areas that I'm going to talk later on. Transformations, behavior transformation, and psychological emotional transformation, and a cognitive and a habitual transformation. So this talk will cover these 3 transformations. This word transformations, when I say it, it make me it remind me remember an incident that when I was in Sri Lanka, I met a man from India in a hospital. So he said that when he had such discussion, a conversation with him, he said, my transformation start in something 1990 or 1995. I forgot the exact years what he mentioned, but he used this term. My transformation start like 1990 or 1993. So I noticed this word, like he used transformation. And he explained how his transformation, how he transformed, and how he transformed into. And I was listening to him carefully, and I noticed that his transformation is like it come to know something. It happened. It seems to be happening to everyone when we are aging, like in a young childhood. We don't know about much things of the life experience. We have not much experience at a young age, but when we are aging, getting older, we experience much, and we feel that we come to know, and we become more capable. So sometimes we things that we transform into, we can use in this kind of uh, sectors or this kind of sense too. So I feel that his transformation is uh, knowledge in the Buddhist teachings, as we have already know, three levels. Sudamaya Jnana, wisdom born of the knowledge, wisdom born of the learning or reading, listening. Another level is the wisdom born of the reflections. It's called Chindamaya Jnana. The last one is wisdom born of the experiential knowledge, experience the wisdom we call Bhavanamaya Jnana. So most of things that sometimes we have changed, we transform, but mostly by the first knowledge, learning, listening, then we believe that within ourselves we transform into something, but actually sometimes we see there is nothing to be happening, just transform, but just temporarily, because we have no practice yet deeply, then this transformation is just temporary, not deeply. So what I mean by this, though, we have to go the deeper our practice by the experiential wisdom, by practicing. But by practice means obviously it refers to meditation. So this is the background that why I use this transformation and how is it different from other people, because maybe Indian people have such sense of the transformation because this land of the as some scholars mentions, the land of the spirituality or land of the seekers, because our Buddha was born in this land, Michima Desha. So people are familiar to some kind of spirituality, practicing the seeking the truth. We know that the the Buddhist texts, most of the Buddhist texts mentions about this. So so let us go back to the main title again, the Dhamma Therapy. The Dhamma, especially the meditation, the Dhamma is a unique discovery of the Buddha. The Buddha teaching is called the Dhamma. It's not creation. It's not something a have philosophical speculations. It's not something like intellectual entertainment. Uh, so it is the Dhamma, the terms Dhamma come from the root Dara. It means to support, to sustain, to hold, to uphold. Dharati, the Dhamma. So the Dhamma can be understood in this title as a therapy. Therapy, as a therapeutic way, it's like a medicine to cure the diseases. So according to Buddhist teachings can be understood. Last time also I mentioned this word, can be understood as problem oriented. Why we need to practice the Dhamma, because why we need to take this medicine, the Dhamma, medicine of the Dhamma, because we have a problem, we have diseases, we are sick. So simply we can understand that way. So the Dhamma as a therapy. Another thing is Dhamma can be understood as a discovery too. This discovered by the Buddha and reveal this truth to all. More importantly, the Dhamma is understood as the way, the path to the end. The Ma it says, as the scholars mentioned, the Ma it says is nothing. The Ma has the relative values when it's relevant to the goals, that it has value. If there's no value, if there's no the end or the goals, it's nothing. It means the Buddha mentioned in the Kulupama Sutta and compared to the Dhamma as compared to the raft or the boat or the ship. We use this thing, raft or boat or ship, to cross the river. After we reach another shore, we just throw it. The Buddha say, no, grasp this one. The Dhamma is means to end. Therefore, Dhamma, but the Buddha say, the Dhamma has relative values, the value of the goals, the path to liberation, the path leading to the cessation of the suffering. So we understood here the Dhamma as a therapy. Why we need to practice that? Then another question. What are those? What are the power of the Dhamma then? I feel that personally these days, why we need to practice this? Because currently, as Venerable Bande asked me, what is the condition in Myanmar today? And more importantly, what is the role of the monks and nuns? Monks and nuns give the Dhamma talk. And we are doing the best we think in ourselves to help people, to support that from our rule. But the question is, are we doing really? And our works are really beneficial to the people. For me, what things come to my mind is, uh, as I mentioned, that in Myanmar today, you know, countrywide civil war happening, but it has been happening since half century ago, long time, not just recently, but recently it's getting worse. People suffered a lot throughout the country, and not only in Myanmar, every part of the world. You see that today's. But why why I'm talking about this is I just try to connect this link to the topic and the main themes of this Dhamma talk. Why we need to do this? Why we have to assume this? Today is a obvious, very well known situation in the East Europe. uh, is happening, the war again between the like Russia and Ukraine. We have seen that people suffer a lot. Then what we can do about it? my country, other people too. As Buddhist monks, what are our rules? So what we can do is war, fighting, quarreling, disagreement, and that kind of things happening among the humanity for centuries, many years since it begins, since it's a long time is happening. So what we can do about this? And the main themes of the Buddhist teaching also, as the intention or purpose of the Buddhist teachings also to help the people to get out from this suffering. As the Mahasatipatthana Sutta mentions, several beneficial paths there, Satana and Vichodhya, to purification for the being, Dukkha Dominasanan, Samate Kamaya, Dukkha, suffering, Domanesa, Soka Parideva, sorrow or limitations to overcome those things, and Dukkha Domanesa, suffering and the unpleasant angers, to get rid of this, Nyayasa Adhikamaya, to reach the path, Nibbanasa Sikh, to emancipation from the suffering. So, what I want to say is that we cannot do this. Uh, so what we can do this, is it enough for praying for this? People means we included monks and nuns too. Until that we reach to the final state. So why is happening? Can we can we really stop that, like a weaponry, because the people are saying because of the weapon? Now the very sophisticated weapons, very destructive weapons people are holding, ready to, open it. It can, the scientists say this, it can destroy the whole humanities. But can we really stop it? No one can stop it. Even the Buddha Thai in the Asian history of the India, the Buddha, his contemporary, even the Buddha cannot stop sometimes because people are doing this, you know, sometimes according to their karma. So obvious case with the Duba, the Buddha cannot stop it when he tried to kill, such a claims, just like that. So what does it mean to us? Even today, we cannot stop it producing the weapon because the Buddhism so there's a fighting and arguing, attacking, those things not just because of the weapon. Buddhist psychology say it come from inside. That is the kind of nature of the people. If you are strong, you just take it over, and you just want to take, you just want to show your power, your mana, conceit. So what we can do about it? What we can do is we cannot stop the weapon, but we can do the weapon. We can put the weapon in good hands. In good hands. Weapon is dangerous, it's obvious. But weapons, guns in the hand, in the good hands, so we secure. Like a knife is danger. It's obvious. It's something danger, can shove beings, creatures can cut. But the knife in the hand of doctor, a surgeon, save many lives. We are secure. So that's the way we cannot stop it, all happenings. But what we can do is we can share, we can deliver the Dhamma and practice by ourselves can help other people understood. And at the Buddha time also, the Buddha see that in this contemporary cannot stop it. What's happening, what was happening around him. But what we can do, the Buddha gave the ethical laws, principle to the leaders, to the people. What the Buddha is saying, it means that we cannot stop it, what's happening in the humanity. But what we can do is we can make the people more moral, more reasonable. If we can do this, many good people, if good people become a majority, then we can do something. Maybe, as I mentioned, we can imagine that if there's no weaponry, if there's no such thing, how this beautiful place, this world will be. But it's just thinking. It's not practical. But what we can do is the weapon in the hand of good people, the knife in the hand of good people, then all secure. That is the reason that even sometimes people don't listen to the Dhamma, don't not try to, but we monks and nuns or other Buddhists or non-Buddhists alike try to spread, try to deliver, try to share this thing. And the transformation, why I mentioned this thing, so I link to the later on this. Therapy and the powers. What are the power of the Dhamma then? How can we make the people and like but me, ourselves, you, we, ourselves, me, myself, the people, me, all included. Just like I'm not pretending I'm a very good person. Other people need to be better or good. Me, myself also practice. The Buddha say we have to practice by ourselves first and guide others. Just like I'm stuck on the mat, I cannot get out from it. How can I help others to get out of this? I have to stand on the dry land first and help others. It's reasonable. We need to practice by ourselves. I didn't get that. Could you try again? Sorry. It's okay. Why Siri come now? Sorry for this. Then the power, Dhamma has a power. Dhamma has value, as I mentioned, it's relative values. It goes. What I want to highlight here is the Dhamma is a medicine. When we say therapy, the Dhamma become as a medicine given by a powerful, given by the Buddha. Therapeutic way, understanding the Dhamma. As I mentioned, we have the diseases, we have the problem. Only the Dhamma can cure this disease. Other material things cannot do this. It's obvious. So the power of the Dhamma to transform me or ourselves and other people too. What I want to highlight here is the enlightenment weakening factors as a power of the Dhamma. As is obvious, there are 7 awakening enlightenment factors. We call it Satta Bojjhanga. So those are power to transform one to, the better person, a good person, or more spiritual person. Sometimes we know this. Why we need to transform? It means that just knowing the intellectually is not really enough. Not really enough. We need to transform more. We need to change more. Sometimes we know it's bad things, but we stay doing this. Why? We stay doing this. We know that smoking is not good. Alcoholic drinking is not good, but we stay doing this. Why are we doing this? Because only Sutta Maya Jnana, that just getting information is not good, but it cannot transform one's into the good person. By why? Because it's due to lack of the practicing the Dhamma in the Bhavanamaya with the Bhavanamaya Pinya, experiential wisdom. So mainly this talk emphasizes the experiential knowledge. Then when we say the Dhamma therapy, another specific thing that should refers here is the meditation. Meditation get highly, attention today around the world. People are practicing this. It's very happy, and people benefit what the Buddha taught. 7 enlightenment factors. The Buddha highlight this and indicate this. This is truly Dhamma therapy and empowers to transform. 7 enlightenment factors. Pasitichati Sati Sambhojango. Mindfulness awakening factors. We all know that is a sati is a kind of foundation, as it has mentioned in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. And the Dhamma Vinaya Sambhojango, secondly. Thirdly, Viriya Sambhojango. Dhamma Vinaya Sambhojango means investigations, awakening factors. Viriya Sambhojango means a effort or energy awakening factor. Piti Sambhojango, and that's a rapturous awakening factor. Passaddhi Sambhojango, tranquility awakening factor. Samadhi Sambhojango, concentrations awakening factors. Upekkha Sambhojango, and equanimity awakening factors. So those factors can be understood here as a Dhamma, power of the Dhamma, or Dhamma therapeutics factor that can change our behavior or our psychology, our emotion, even our cognitive factors or habitual actions. So to transform or to be better person, to noble person, when we say the good things, on the other side, the opposite side, we also need to understand the enemies of those things and the poison of those things. What are our enemies then? According to Buddhist psychology, we have a inside enemy. So enemies within us can be understood in the 3 ways. It's called kilesa, poisons. Every day it makes us unstable. Every day it makes us more complex and more obstacle and disturbant to think good thing, to do good things. So 3 ways can be understood the kilesa. The first level, in the deepest level, let's begin with the deepest level. Kilesa is called anusaya kilesa. Anusaya, Pali words, can be translated into the English. It's translated into English as latent tendency. At the deepest level of the consciousness is lying dormant, quietly lying. But when the condition arises, the possible condition arises, it arises. So again, with the nature of these latent tendencies, just like we're collecting, just we're gathering our habit, we're gathering our energy, the root of the sensory existence, through the sensory existence. Angers, that there are seven kinds of anusaya, kilesa, but together we can say altogether three major kilesa, loba, dosha, and moha. Attachment, craving, and aversion, dosha, and a moha, delusion. So that is very familiar to all Buddhists, even non-Buddhists alike. So what we can understand, how we can understand here is this is the subtle levels, subtlest level of the kilesa, defilements. Cannot see, those cannot be seen by his normal eyes, only by wisdom. We can see this because is lying dormant quietly is the deepest levels of our consciousness. It's very difficult to see. But what one condition arises, it arises to the level and up surface level. Then we committed most of bad things. There are possibility or initialities. Those conditions are lying dormant in the deepest levels of consciousness. Second level is the pariyotana kilesa. It's manifestations level. Kilesa is little manifest in the second level, especially, for example, when we are angry with somebody or something. This manifest your appearance, maybe your face getting red or become like your appearance shows that you are angry. Is second level of the kilesa. Another level, the surface level, aggressive level, is called vitakama kilesa. In this experience obvious, you're physically and bodily, you are doing things, it means aggressive levels. So it's called vitakama kilesa. Then the Buddha gave the, those can be understood as a problem in a day-to-day life or everyday life or the problem of our sensory existence too. Those things like put into the bondage or the prison to us, we cannot run out of from this. We cannot get out of from this because those three kilesa, we doing this, our action, our reaction is called sankhara. So we are producing our karma every day, physically, mentally, bodily, doing those things. So it extended our sensory existence. So generally, theoretically, we can understand three levels of kilesa. The first level is vichakama and surface level. It means we're committing or aggressive level of the kilesa. Second level is a manifestation level. It means pariyotana kilesa. Third level is the deepest level, is called anusaya kilesa. So the Buddhas give the guidance, three medicines of three ways to counteract those three levels. The first level in this, the Buddha gave the silas. Buddhist teachings gives silas to counteract the level of the transgressions, vitakama kilesa. Second level is a manifestations, pariyotana kilesa. The Buddha gave samadhi, concentration, or tranquility. Third level is the wisdom, the penya, the Buddha gave to counteract the the latent tendency. Tendency is very important to understand that, because the first level is very obvious, our physical and body actions, that by sila, practicing the sila. So we can overcome this by practicing behavior, this work of behavior transformation. Second level is concentration samadhi. But the second level, because you are not committing, your our behaviors only by physically, bodily. The sila, practicing the sila, we can remove this and we can encounter this kilesa of the vitakama, transgressions level, very surface level. But the second level, sila, is not enough, because it's a little deeper, a little settled than samadhi, the calm mind and a quiet mind and the concentrated and one pointedness is important to encounter or to counteract this, the kilesa, defilements, the manifestations. And the for third levels, the subtlest level, power of the kilesa, defilements in the anosya level. Samadhi, sila are not enough. By practicing the sila, by practicing the samadhi, is not really enough, because it's a very subtle. Cannot see by those things, only by wisdom, experiential knowledge, experiential wisdom, by practicing. But another word using meditation can remove this. Samadhi also meditation. But by samadhi, it doesn't work. Samadhi doesn't work at the level, because it's very subtle. Then the wisdom penya that produced by the meditation can overcome this, can eradicate this in this level. So we understand now three levels of kilesa. First surface level is transgressions level, the pariyot vitakama kilesa. Second level is pariyotana kilesa, manifestation level. Third level is latent tendencies, defilements of the anosya kilesa. I already mentioned that sila samadhi penya. That is the way of the transformation. So let's go back to this, how it works, transform, how it can, how it is capable, how is it able to transform one to better or the noble person. Because we also have to understand here, we should understand here our actions. While we are producing every day the karma, new karma, new karma, new karma, and multiplications to get followed by multiplication by this karma. According to the Chula Kama, Chula Vedana or Mahavedana Sutta, the Buddha mentions clearly that why this, why we are committing, why we are doing so bad things, or sometimes even good things. This is our reaction, sankhara, we're doing, we're producing every day. When we see something or someone we dislike, subtlest level of our defilement kilesa get raised from the lying, quietly lying, but when the condition arises, we see that rupa ramana, we see that by our eyes and the faculties of eyes and the chakku vinyana. Dana Sangati Peso at the Pali word, the Pesa and Vedana, according to the dependent rising. Then we feeling this anger, you dislike it, you unpleasant, you feel it unpleasant on that person. So when you see that the Badiga Nusaya, latent tendency of the anger, so start to raise from that level, it come to the second level of manifestation. Then you angry, you're like a is like a turbulent level. You you are governed by anger at the time, even though you are not doing any physically or verbally, but in your mind, in our mind, the anger is dominating, as the our the as uh, as Goenga said, the first victim of anger is ourself. Is quite right. It's so important, that word, that, and it reminds us to understand the nature of the angers, or dosha in the Pali word. So the first victim of the anger is it's simply we can experience that when we're angry with someone or something, these angers dominate us, and we're feeling this heatness of the nature of this anger. In the turbulent level, you are not committing any behavior, you're physically or verbally. At that time, if we cannot stop it in that level, so another level, it anger come us to another level of the transgressions, vitakama kilesa. At the time, you may use some nasty words and very rude, the saying something, according to the nature of the anger, is come out from our mouth. Then even physically you're committing this. And physically you're committing this. So this is the only one, the kilesa or dosha, right? That is the way. Dosha, another way is craving, lova, and the delusion, moha, nusaya, the same. Why is it happening? That the as mentioned earlier, there in the Jula Vedana Sutta, three feelings or emotions. But when we say the emotion is different from other, the Western psychology. Emotions, Western psychology is only negative views. They use the emotion or feelings are different. But here, when we say the emotions can be understood in the two ways: the positive emotion and negative emotions too. In the Buddhist way, it means, so the domanessa or somanessa or upeka, a pleasant, unpleasant, and the no different, indifference emotions, upeka. So these three emotion represents three kilesa: loba, dosha, and moha. Then when we think of this, we want to get at something. And in our mind, there's no guardian, it means sati, indriya, faculties. Then those objects come through. Then we are angry and we attach on it. We have such feeling of the craving. We have a feeling of the delusion. It's happening every day. We are reacting on it, like dislike, and delusion too, indifference. In this way, we're producing everyday karma. But another important thing is the we are putting into it, and the multiplication is, I just want to mention here, is like a set creative suffering. I used to say this, and it's based on the Sanla Sutta or the Majjhima Nikaya, or Sanla Sutta or Sutta Nipadas too. Two Sanla Sutta there. These suttas importantly highlight this. We have mentally, instabilities or mental illness or such kind of unpleasant feeling. But the uh, what is the important thing is that uh, yeah, we all know that the according to the Roga Sutta, we have two kinds of diseases, like a physical illness, kayika roga, and the mental illness, cetasika rogas. So everyone suffer, including the Buddha and other enlightened person, to physical disease. But mentally, they have no such feeling, they have no such diseases. I mean, enlightened person, because no set creation. We ordinary people have set creation. It means that is a multiplication of our feeling, our suffering. We we see somebody, and the Buddha and Arahanta also see somebody, but different dimensions and different the assumptions or different feeling. It means sala means two doves, two arrows. The Arahanta and the Buddha, they were shoot arrow by somebody, but they feel only for this. They suffer. The pain in they have is only for this one single arrow. But we ordinary people suffer doubles. Why? We have a physical suffering. We multiply, but we suspend this by three ways. It's called papancha, tanha, mana, craving, mana, conceive, and then deity, view, round views. So this conceptual proliferations, we suspend this our pain. For example, we suffer just for, we say that we suffer just for, the uh, uh, $1, for example. We got a pain or suffering for $1, but we suffer $100, something like that. So it can be understood that way. It means set creative suffering. So important in life. The Buddha says, Sanlasutta, Sutawa, Achutawa. We ordinary people multiplied our suffering every day. The same people, ordinary noble person see the same person. Ordinary people, the same person. If we think we dislike somebody and we multiply this, our anger, our conceit, and the I am, you know, I am such a person. So we put into it many kinds of, other conditions into it, and we suffer a lot. We suffer more. So understanding those things and encountering three levels of kilesa, that is a truly, way of the transformation, what the Buddha highlights. So as I mentioned, the seven enlightenment factor is a power of the Dhamma Therapy. Sati, very important factors, awakening factors. The Buddha mentioned as a sati is a foundation, or the mindfulness foundation of four things, the kaya nupassana in Mahasatipatthana Sutta, Dhamma nupassana, and the Vedana nupassana and the Dhamma nupassana. Those seven enlightenment factors are included in the Dhamma nupassana. But I'm not going to say all those factors, but only two factors. The first factor is sati, mindfulness awakening factors. And then the last one, the equanimity, is so important. Those are the uh, most important factors. All are important factors, but here uh, I would like to highlight these two factors for the transformation. Why? Lack of these two factors, we are reacting things like dislike or delusion or indifference ways, and we're producing our karma unknowingly without the necessary awareness. It's so important that this meditation, formal or informal, meditations may we practice sitting somewhere and practicing this and guided by others like our teachers, our meditation master. We are doing this thing. But informal meditation, we can use that word informal, like you are going and cooking, doing other things, your homework, daily walks. But at that time, at the present moment, you focus on it and you have attention on it, you mindful on it. You are mindful on what you are doing, what you are thinking. In the present moment, Pechupana me, maybe we people have to think about the past, the future too, because we have a walk. We also have to reflect what we were doing yesterday, what we're going to do the next day, tomorrow, in the future. So we cannot stumble without thinking that we have to plan it. But the thing is that you aware of this. Oh, I'm thinking the past. I'm thinking the future. It is you are living in the present moment. We are living in the present moment. So live in the present moment, every actions or our activities, every actions mean our physical actions, verbal actions, mental actions. Just we are, you're mindful on our action. So become less, I mean, less mistake, and these two factors, sati, mindfulness, what you are thinking, what you are doing, and every our actions, mindfully we are guiding and the washing on it, observing on it. Then another side is equanimity. Very important. Mindfulness, awareness, and equanimity. When we see something, then we mindful on it. We awareness that what things is it. But sati has no capacity to decide what is good or bad. Satis we make us aware things, object. But Dhamma Vijaya symbol, investigation, awakening factors. But what I want to highlight here is equanimity, awareness things, equanimity. Equanimity means the upeka sambojanga, impartialities. Feeling of equanimity is so important because me, us, the people, nature of our mind, easy to be feeling of the bias or impartial, partially, you know, we are taking that. Our loved ones, oh, that is mine, that is us, that is our loved ones. We try to be, the take a part. So equanimity is the most important factors among the seven enlightenment factors. Why? For example, like, uh, you know, to stand in the according to the Dhamma, things as objectivity, Dhamma Daytana in the Pali word, is so important. Another way to understand it is that sometimes we, like, somebody try to attack you, and you feeling this compassionate feeling of compassionate towards him, or I have to be patient with, I have to be patient with him. But from physically somebody try to attack you, somebody uh, then you're feeling patient with, you know. But the kanti, this kind of the tolerance, you know, no, not just for other people who try to attack you, but our emotion is so important. We, like, or in the front of many people, that we try to avoid bad things that people will look down, and you you're pretending as a good person sometimes, like. But what I want to say is here is that uh, that is easy to do. I have a right to do this, but I know it's a bad thing. But I'm able to, I try to avoid it. Even no one blame me to take this opportunity, but it's which is a bad thing. But I try to avoid it. That's what tolerate feeling of the tolerance. Fashion. Equanimity is linked to the equanimity and enlightenment factors. You see that things, a person you dislike or like, but without swerving these two emotions, you stand in the middle. or let's say there's a metal, or objectivity strongly, at the time, your action, you reacting like or dislike, that this kind of reaction produce our karma, our karma. Watching, observing, or practicing equanimity. So calmly, then your reactions getting lower, getting subtle, and then getting more, calm away, because you aware of this thing, and you standing by the equanimity. Finally, your reactions, more awareness, and then with the wisdom, seeing things as they really are, yatha Buddha, and your reaction become more subtle. Is called it. That is truly what I want to say is the bhavanamaya wisdom, experiential knowledge. Then you less reacting. Finally, in the level of the latent tendency, defilements, so no reacting. Second level also not reacting. Third level also not reacting. Reacting, your reaction with mindfulness, your reaction with the one whiteness, awareness, then you become, more calm, and you are reacting with your fully awareness. Then finally you transform this into it. Because without awareness, we are making a mistake. Small awareness, even, the from outside things, we aware on it, and equanimity, awareness and equanimity, awareness winning, finally, you know, is getting, settle everything. Then is it called power of the transformation. I just want to highlight two factors here: awareness and equanimity. Those folk that are truly the more important powers of the Dhamma therapy here. Then the Dhamma has such power. And in other words, meditation has a power to transform us. Otherwise, we try to transform by the reading, by learning Suttamaya Jnana, by reflecting things, whether it's reasonable or not, but no, it's not really enough. But the last word, Bhavanamaya Jnana, experiential knowledge, is a important factors or important knowledge, and truly helpful to transform ourselves into the good person or better person. Those things seems to be a like let me let me conclude my talk, widen my talk by saying that those things can be, like a supermaning level. But by as I gave the introductory speech, we also need to focus on our condition, the current condition, what's happening around us. We cannot run away from it. We cannot run away from it. So the Buddhist teachings, the main goals of the Buddhist teaching is to reach, to free from the final, to have the final liberation from the suffering to sensory existence. But unless we cannot transform our set into some certain level, if we are not ready on this, if we have not such practice, I think it is difficult, even impossible to transform in the supermanding level. Then this today Dhamma talk, the Dhamma has such power. We gradually practice this thing and try to transform by ourselves. Another thing is important is we also need to understand to transform that what are the obstacles behind us. So I mentioned the three levels of the kilesa, three levels of transformations. But I don't much highlight here the sila, because silent enlightenment factor sila is not included. But obviously, it is so important morally, you know, to be good. If the ethical, the works and morality to transform the person, behavioral transformation is important. Another level is the manifestation, the psychological, emotionally transformation. Another one is the Western, the habitual or cognitive transformation. That's three level. Then we in the day-to-day life, mundane levels, and final liberations, the the supermaning level. And this is the part, that is the way, the Dhamma as the means and the way to transform, the way to end the cessation of the suffering, as I mentioned earlier. So uh, that is the the Dhamma, and the how the Dhamma help us transform into it. That is the way what the Buddha has given to us. So thank you so much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Venerable Dr. Varanyana, for a beautiful and profound Dhamma talk today that you were discussing, along with your practice and also the both Eastern and Western psychological perspectives. I think this Dhamma talk can be really helpful. I personally think our Dhamma friends need to watch this again because uh, the theory that we learned is the final transformation, final liberation, leading to final liberation. So this talk can be really helpful. How to get rid of all our defilements. That is the idea of transformation, and also the therapy that you were talking about. Through the terminology that you use were very familiar with our Buddhist community, but I think eventually these terms are more powerful psychological terms that can also be adapted, hopefully, by the Western psychology specialists as well to benefit the many. So, Venerable, you also have done a master degree, I think, in Ayurveda, right? So,
Uh, yes, Monday, the counseling and Ayurveda, the Buddhist
yes,
master degree from Kelaniya University. Is
yeah,
it even after my PhD degree, Monday?
that's
At that
right. That's
time, I couldn't come back from Sri Lanka. Even my degree, I accomplished my degree because the virus.
hmm,
So, uh, so I couldn't come back at that time. I joined for the MA. So the our lecturer also invited me to join this. Then yeah, I did this. Mhm.
right. So your PhD degree thesis is a critical study of concept of motivation in Buddhist Jataka story,
Yes, Pandey. Jataka
and
story. Yes.
also your Master of Arts in Buddhist Ayurvedic counseling.
Yes, Pandey.
These are really, really
Yeah,
wonderful.
Ayurvedic counseling. Yes.
Yeah, I think you have more authority to discuss about this topic, and the way you discuss about the Dhamma therapy. Now, are you also familiar with the Western psychology?
Uh, I've touched this Western psychology, but for me personally, we need to study more But in my thesis, even I use the term the motivation and psychology. I have touched some part of the Western psychology, but not widely, not deeply. Just given the links and some
mm,
aspect of the Western psychology. I did
mm.
not go there deeply much. Yes,
Okay.
Monday.
But I think when we go deeply into Buddhist psychology, that can be really, really more helpful. Buddhist
Yes,
psychology is much more profound, I'm sure. Although in Western psychology, they also have some other perspectives in the current world, and hopefully, um, your therapy that the discussion that we that you conducted today on Dhamma therapy. I really like the word Dhamma therapy and the power of transformation. We do have a question here from Priyadarshini Rasangika. What are the differences between Dhamma therapy and Western psychological therapy? How about the differences or similarities between Buddhist mindfulness meditation and Western mindfulness? Do you have anything to say about this?
yeah. Let me try, Bande. Thank you for the questions. What are the differences between Dhamma therapy and Western psychological therapies? So it's obvious that therapy or even the word psychology, so we adopted, right? Then is from is obvious the Western the terms psychology, but we use the term like a chitta beta or therapy. The Dhamma sometimes the Milinda Pena say Dhammosada, Dhamma as a medicine.
Hmm,
So Dhamma as a kind of treatment. Even I did not mention in my Dhamma talk like the Buddha also consider as a physicians,
hmm,
bijaka, right?
hmm,
Then the sense even the words is derived from the Western psychology, that therapy, but the sense, the implications is very rich in the Buddhist teachings, in the
hmm,
Buddhist texts. So what could be the differences between these two therapy? As I mentioned in my Dhamma talk, Dhamma therapy based on the self-understanding and the is based on the self-awareness and the experiential knowledge, bhavanamaya jnana.
hmm,
But Western psychology, I would say that generally, but I have not much expertise on the how the Western Dhamma therapy or psychological therapy is very wide things there, many branches there is very big, huge topic when we say psychological therapies. But generally, I would say that Western psychology just to the understand, just to understand things based on the knowledge. When we say from the Western Buddhist point of view, like the Suttamaya Jnana,
hmm,
Suttamaya Jnana, just try to understand something, try to understand the, have the client understand when we say therapy, a kind of treatment. But another thing is the ethic ethical perspectives also will be different uh, from Buddhist point of Buddhist the way of the therapy and a Western therapy, because the in the we can also study that the questioner. I just want to here is a very tightly missed. So uh, in the in Vinaya Pitaka, the Beseja Kanaka, and the this is the way of the Ayurveda, but we here talk about mostly spiritually the it got a treatments mean the teaching, learning, and the practicing, especially meditation. Then it can be a different Buddhist therapeutic way based on uh, the experiential knowledge, bhavana, maya, jnana. So Western psychological therapy is a focuses on the understanding and the suttamaya. So that's what I want to say. The second question is how about the differences, similarity, Buddhist mindfulness meditation and Western mindfulness? So the I heard that Christians, okay, Western, when we say the Western, so say, let's say the Christianity or Christian community also they have their particular way of meditation practice, I think. But what will be the differences between these similarities? Uh, the concentrations, concentrations can be can be seen, can be to some extent, or you have to quiet my one pointedness and have to make our mind sharpen and more focus, something like that. So in concentration level, maybe the same. But in the mindfulness, vipassana, inside meditation is quite different because inside meditation is a the unique discovery of the Buddha. Unique. So that is in even today. I, we, the definitely can say that uh, that is the unique discovery of the Buddha. Then in the concentration level, this maximum way I'm saying can be the same. Some similarities we can see there, but in the deeper level of insight meditation cannot be the same. So those can be differences between these two traditions, Western mindfulness meditations and a Western mindfulness. Even using mindfulness today, people are using. Let me say something. Around the world, everyone says mindfulness, mindfulness. So sometimes even I don't know what they mean, what they report mindfulness. So we in the Satipatthana Sutta is it clearly mentions the full foundations of mindfulness. And wisdom, when we say the wisdom mindfulness, I don't know what kind of traditions, what kind of practice he or she means to. So, but yeah, it's a quite difference inside meditation. Concentration level can be seen to some extent, but inside level is quite different. Thank you so much. Sunday, you muted. Mm.
I think they just borrow the term mindfulness, sati, and then they just use it. That has become such a popular word, like yoga,
Yes,
and
well,
meditation. They have become like viral practices. So not necessarily following, especially as you mentioned, the ethical part. Like the
yes,
sila
well,
is the very foundation of our meditation, and without sila there cannot be any concentration.
yes,
The
well,
body and the mind can always be restless, and when the mind is not concentrated, it is not difficult. It is not easy to generate any panya or wisdom. So that
see things.
Buddhist, yeah, that Buddhist system, I think, is really, really important. And as you mentioned, how important it is to see Buddhist psychology or mindfulness stand out from the rest of the systems, because we talk about anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanent suffering and no soul. And in the Western um, psychology, I think they probably don't talk about many of these things. They just do things like physically, um, the things that are tangible, that are visible. They focus more on these areas. Yeah, I think Sigmund Freud and some other people, they talk about different techniques, but definitely
Yes,
the Buddhist psychology or the therapy that we have is much more profound. Venerable Sayadaw, I also would like to bring your attention. Like in Buddhism, we say like we have three levels of eradicating defilements, like Tadanga, Vikambana, and Samucheda. So Tadanga way, we just when we practice like some chanting or practicing dana or even sila, some simple bhavana practices, we can temporarily suppress our defilements. And then when it comes to jhanic levels, like the four jhanas and the samapatis, can be helpful for us to suppress even more, cleanse even more defilements, but not completely. That is called vikambana.
Ukambana.
Yeah,
Yes, Banda.
and only when
Yes.
you become, when you attain Maggaphala, the path and
Yeah.
fruition, Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta, then only we can completely eradicate those defilements. So this is again, I think the power of transformation, and our system is completely unique and different. Would you like
Yes.
to add something to this, please?
Yes, Banda. Thank you for the this they remind me say some. I didn't use that the Pahana, the kind of the uh, the Danga Pahana.
Oh,
The uh, in a Vitakama level, the Danga. The is mean temporarily, uh, the push aside or
mm,
the how to say this suppressions. The Vikambana is a suppressions of the periodically, right?
mm,
The kind of transformation we use that word, but the eradication is a samocheda, eradicating, and even day to day life is not implementing level, no no by mega, but theoretically or the meditation practice also focuses these three levels. I think in the eradication in the eradication level, if we eradicating me only by mega, you're right, mega. Only it can be done only by this the like in the last level the strain warners eradicate is never come again. But
mm,
by seeing this thing, anusia level, uh, only by wisdom, practicing this,
mm,
even we cannot eradicate this completely.
mm,
But if we understand it, how is originated, how located to, if we don't see the root cause of this thing, kilesha or then uh, how can we stop it? Just come out at the Buddha time, the other sage or seeker also understand this samadhi level, but they have no capacity to see this root cause of this, the kilesha and the latent tendency. That's why even they reach the highest stage of the Brahma, Uttara Kalama, but they have no such wisdom to see things in the seatless level. Yes. So the last level is important to eradicate finally.
yeah,
That is what I want to say, Bande.
yeah. I think yeah. So like the way we transform ourselves by practicing this dhamma, um, even when we just even without going to such deep levels, there is a way for us to um, develop our what we call we say when we practice dana sila bhavana, we can um, generally we can um, carefully or gradually improve our practice of uh, what do you call 37 factors of enlightenment, right? So every
Yes.
time when we practice these things like Buddha Vandana, Dhamma Vandana, Sangha Vandana, or when we do all these things with Saddha, Sila, Samadhi, and all these things can be helpful for us to improve our own practice, and that will help us improve our 37 factors of enlightenment, and also temporarily and even more subtle level, and then completely we can get rid of the defilements. As you mentioned, the vipassana way is should be the final way. um, for example, at least we should try to attain sotapanna, so that we can make sure that we will never be born in the lower realms. That means the
Yes.
defilements leading to lower realms will be completely eradicated. So samucheda level, right?
Yes. Even yes, Vande. Even we, as a lay ordinary person, uh, okay, what I say is most theoretical way, but we need to put it into practice in a more practical way, right? But even we understand this theoretical way, but sometimes it helps us understand things around. Uh, Sometimes, okay, we understand that the suffering within us, so we need to get out of from it. We need to away from it. It must be from it. But I just want to stay in this sensory existence. I don't want to go right now. I don't want to get out of from it. I know it's a suffering, but sometimes I love it. That is that is make us to stay here.
Mm,
The feeling more comfortable. Sometimes oh suffering, but sometimes oh pleasurable, enjoyable. Life is enjoyable,
mm,
just like a life is good. So but anyway, understanding those things as you mentioned, Bande, Sila, Samadhi, doing those things, Bhavashampati, Bhogachampati, we reborn in the very higher realms, higher states. And another thing is important thing is that we by understanding this thing, we know is a good or is a bad, then we can avoid it.
mhm,
So what thing is that what I want to say is that is it someone think is a cobra poisonous snake, but somebody think it's like a grass, dry grass.
mm,
So these two people grasp the cobra. The one know is a poisonous snake. He will hold the snake by his neck.
mm,
Another one doesn't know.
mm,
Those who don't know is a cobra. He will hold the snake by the its tail.
mhm,
Then he will suffer. It means that even we are not able to eradicate those defilements right now, but we know there is a danger, it's a poisoning. So we are aware of this thing. We can avoid this. Even still we are holding this, grasping this, but we mindful on it. That
mhm.
is the value of the Buddhist. I think it's the value of the knowing is the Buddhist teachings, even theoretically, Banda.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I also like that you mentioned about um, the anusaya, latent tendencies or dormant factors that we have, those dormant defilements that can happen to us, like layers and layers of those anusaya. So latent tendencies can make our samsara longer and so difficult to remove those stains from our mind. Um, uh, so, um, do you wish to say something like how these dormant tendencies or latent tendencies happen? How does it happen that we continuously assemble or continuously collect those dormant tendencies all the time, or latent tendencies or anusaya all the time?
Yes, Bande. So how it happens is there is answer, but where it begins is no answer. It's beginless.
Yes.
Is it start from the first day of our sensory existence? So let us say that the s- but some people have such very lower settle and the less tendency, and the some people has these very they have uh, much amount of this thing. Why it happened? As I mentioned the in my Dhamma talk, that we just like collecting this habit. The it become like a tendency. For example, you karma energy we are collecting every lives. You are doing something. Yeah, let me take an example. We see somebody we dislike, or we see somebody we like. When we see dislike, when we dislike a person, seeing the person we dislike, the angers and or unpleasant domination in the outside object, but the in the latent tendency level, the defilements of the angers, patigha nausea, raise in the subtlest level. Then you feel this, you dislike, you hated this person, and you, or physically or verbally, you committed something, or you do this. Those things, those karma energy, maybe sometimes talking, word and thinking, our thoughts just moment, but it collecting, it left energy of karma. So karma niyama. Then those things become grosser, become a bigger, just like we collecting this energy, the way we collect the karma. So the things happen like this, Pande. But
Yes.
those who practice the Dhamma, seeing this thing, it becomes lesser. We call the Pali word is called tanukarana.
Yes.
Lesser. Finally, you free from it.
Yeah. Diluting.
So we have to go there lesser. Yes, Pande.
Continue to practice, and then only
Yes.
we can do that, being mindful, continuous practice, right? I think we have a follow-up comment from Priyadashini. May Triple Gem bless you, Bante. Your explanation was very important because those questions were asked in a past paper of our university. So I thought those questions may help our Ayurvedic counseling students. Thank you very much. Ah, yeah, I think
Who's that?
she's the one who asked the question, the difference between Dhamma therapy and Western psychological therapy. Yeah, so she says these two questions, like how about the differences or similarities between Buddhist mindfulness
Ah,
and Western mindfulness? The question was asked before and you answered. Yeah,
thank you anyway so much for the
right.
questions.
So we
It's
have
very
another question
intelligent.
from Ananda Mahinkande. Uh, I have been trying to critically look at five aggregates of clinging as vipassana. What are your thoughts, Bhante?
I've been trying to critically look at the five aggregator clinging as vipassana. Yes, the objects of vipassana is the five aggregates, but pi aggregates, it says it's not much problem, as we all know that. So picha kanda, but the Buddha say pichupadana kanda, right? The upadana, clinging. Sometimes the clinging upadana produce karma. Then we just go around samsara. Uh, Five aggregate or clinging as vipassana. yes, why we do the vipassana. So that is a pi aggregate. It is a clinging into this pi aggregate. If
Mm.
we understand clearly these two things, for example, we lot our how to say those upada according to the dependent rising upadana pichya kama bhava. If it becomes a clinging into the pi aggregate, then becoming becoming then my thoughts according to the questions. My thought is why we need to practice the vipassana to see this. What are the clinging into it? For example, sometimes even tanha, attachment, is not good things. But attachment is just like put together, we put together two paper, but two paper together, if you let it go, it go freely, not all the time just together. But what it can be together all the time is a glued, right? Glue can put together the grasp, the clings it together. So we love it, our family sometimes, husband and wife, their family love. It's a tanha, attachment is okay. But when we put into the glue, upadana, it become more problematic. So it makes us goes around the sensory existence, becoming karma. So you're right. Look at it critically, if I aggregate clinging, upadana kanda as a vipassana. So that is my, I don't know, you got a satisfactory answer for this. Thank
I
you.
know Mr. Mahinkanda is a very wonderful practitioner and a good friend of ours. And yeah, I think like in Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, how all the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara are analyzed by the Buddha as Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta.
Yeah,
So
those are, yes,
every for aggregate, whether it is nichang va anichang, rupang nichang va anichang, the monks say anichang bante.
the
So
Buddha,
sanya, sankhara, vijnana, all of them are anicca, dukkha, anatta. So therefore, the Buddha says there is nothing that we can call it as permanent, nothing to be taken as permanent. So this anicca, dukkha, anatta way is the vipassana way, and that way we can see uh, we as mundane people take this body as I, me, myself. So that is not that is called pancha upadana kanda, as you mentioned. So this is the clinging aggregates that we have. But the arahanta people, the liberated ones, the enlightened ones, they think as they truly are, so they can actually cut off that clinging factor. So they are, it is just panchakanda, not pancha upadana kanda. They just have five aggregates.
they just have, yeah, thank you, Bande, for reminding this. As the Buddha say, anatta lakkhana sutta. So it is vipassana way the questioner says is a vipassana. Yes, vipassana means anicca, dukkha, anatta. Mainly these three, the characteristics. And the Buddha say there are dukkha, dukkha, right?
Mm, mm,
Three suffering can be understood in a three way: dukkha, dukkha, jadi dukkha, vyadi dukkha, marana. Another piyahi vipayoga dukkha. Associating with the loved one, no, the disassociation with the loved one, something like that. Yampicha nalapritam dukkha. You did not gain what you want,
mhm.
something like that. But the
Yeah.
Buddha said finally, Sankaitena in the brave, Pechubadana Kanda Dukkariya Sicha. The fire aggregate seeing this thing, uh, and the Buddha Arahant also have the pie aggregate, but they're not clinging into it. So
Yeah,
that's things that.
yeah. I think we should discuss about this particular topic like Pancha Upadana Kanda or five aggregates on another day. Hopefully, we would
Yes,
invite Venerable Varanyana to conduct another Dhamma
that is
talk
a
only on
big
this
topic,
topic
and
because this is a really, really very good topic and we need more discussion. And today we had a long discussion and I think it is really, really helpful for our friends. And thank you so much for your time and I know it is a little bit late now in Myanmar, but
yes,
we really like to appreciate Venerable Dr. Varanyana for being so generous and kind and coming over here to help our friends around the world, sharing the Dhamma, sharing the wisdom, so that we can follow the path, we can practice. And with the power of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, we would like to invoke blessings upon Venerable Dr. Varanyana. May you also be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May you be able to realize the Four Noble Truths as soon as possible, the Magga Phalas, or the jhanas. May they all be on your way. And may all our Dhamma friends also who joined us today by listening to this Dhamma, I'm sure you have also gained a lot of Dhamma knowledge and also you can expand your own Dhamma view, right view, Samma Ditti. And by practicing the Dhamma, may you all be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May you and your friends, relatives, teachers, and elders, everyone in your community, and everyone in your country, and everyone in the world be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. Thank you so much again for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you all with another Dhamma talk on Sunday at the same time. Sabbe Satta Bhavantu Sukhitatta. Looking forward to seeing you again. May you be well, happy, healthy, safe, wherever you are. Sadhu, sadhu,
uh,
sadhu.
uh, uh, thank you so much, Bande.
Thank you so much.
So, apologize if something that because I'm traveling, it's not a stable place to give the Dhamma talk, but I try. So thank you
Yeah,
so much anyway for
yeah.
inviting, so helping me.
Really appreciate
Yeah,
your kindness and generosity one more time. And yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, really, really happy. And thank you again.
thank you, Bande. Thank you.